Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ashanti. Feet for the win. Back, y'all. Another episode, 2023 NBA playoffs on deck, y'all. As we're gonna talk about all the intriguing matchups. This season is really unpredictable. I mean, last year, the Golden State Warriors come in this season as defending champions, right? Well, they necessarily it didn't seem like they really won the championship, given they only won 48 games. But just don't let that fool you. You know what I mean? As far as um, the record goes, we're gonna talk about the Kings. We're gonna talk about the Warriors in our first playoff breakdown. As we get into this thing, the Western Conference is set. It's going to be the Sacramento Kings, the 3 seed, with 48 wins during the season, going up against the Warriors, defending champion Golden State Warriors, 44 wins for the season. And this is a team that is dangerous, man, regardless of what the record holds. I mean, you look at the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets won. They were the top team in Western Conference, 53 wins for the season. And the Denver is a team that could do some damage. You know what I mean, especially with Jamal Murray back now, fully healthy. Joker is gonna need somebody else. Period. If he's gonna take Denver to higher heights, you know what I'm saying, so to speak, this season, especially out of Western Conference. The West is gonna be tough. You know what I mean. It doesn't matter if you're the Nuggets, if you're Memphis, if you're the Kings, if you're the Suns. I mean, you're gonna have to play I think you're just gonna have to play every night, man. It's not gonna be a night off. It's not a night off anyways in the playoffs. But I think in the Western Conference, it's so tight. This series between the Kings and the Warriors, to put it in perspective, the Kings are the 3 seed, and they only have 4 more wins than the Warriors. Now, you can flip it. The Warriors were horrible during the season on the road. They had 11 road wins for the season. That's probably, I think I seen the stat. I think that's the lowest among a defending champion the following season to only win 11 games on the road. I mean, that's not championship basketball, but yet and still, the Warriors, they beat the Lakers by 1 game to wind up with the 6th seed and avoid the play-in, which I thought was good because then they had time to rest their players. Andrew Wiggins is going to be huge coming back from injuries. Only played 37 games this season. But when you look at the Warriors and the Kings, this thing's coming down to the benches, man. I think that we know Steph Curry. Listen, since 2015, the Warriors have been the standard, okay, in the NBA. You know what I mean? They've won 4 championships since 2015. They've made it to the finals other times. They lost to Cleveland, lost to Toronto in other seasons. So this team, you're not going to fool this team with doing anything special. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to playoff time. I look at the Kings, on the other hand, the other side of the coin. The Kings, they haven't made the playoffs since 2006. I like the Kings. I've been saying from the get-go, from the first 30 games of the season, the Kings showed that they were a different team. You know what I mean? They don't have much playoff experience. When you look at it, you look at their roster, Domantas Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, Matthew Dellavedova, Alex Len. Those are the only players. They got 4 players on their team that actually has playoff experience. The Sacramento Kings. Sabonis, Barnes, Dellavedova, Alex Len. The only 4 players, yes, that has playoff experience for the Kings. So right now, I think the Kings are going to have to really play up. The only way they can play is up tempo. They're the number 1 scoring team in the NBA. They average 121 points a game. I mean, that was just phenomenal offensively. Ironically, the Warriors are number 2. You know what I mean? So I don't think in this series there's going to be much defense played in this series. It's going to be a lot of points, which is going to be must-see TV. I think this is a fantastic first-round matchup. I think it's going to go 7 games. when I look at the benches, I think the bench is going to decide this thing. That's why I think the Warriors are going to win this series. I'm going to say 7 game. I'm going to take the Warriors in 7. I think that it's going to be tough because the Kings have the home court advantage. The Kings fans are going to be on fire. I think it's going to be just a phenomenal matchup. I think it's going to be drama in this thing all the way fourth quarter type of thing. I don't see neither team blowing the other team out. I just think that both teams are going to be all games going to be competitive in this series. You look at the Kings bench. I think that when you look at the two benches and compare them, the Kings, Davion Mitchell, Malik Monk, Trey Lyles, Terrence Davis, those are the main guys off the bench for the Kings. When you match them guys up with Poole, Kuminga, Jermichael Green, Dante DiVincenzo, then you could put in spots you could put Iguodala out there, who's pretty much, he's not maybe going to play major minutes, but it's a lot of experience, man, with the Warriors, from the head coach. Steve Kerr, what can we say about Steve Kerr? He's already, Hall of Fame head coach. He's not in yet, but he will be, once his career is all done. Mike Brown, on the other hand, Mike Brown is the guy that is finally getting his due, man. It just seems like this is his team. We've seen him with some success in the past with the Cavs. We've seen the Lakers kind of, get rid of him too soon. And I'm happy for Mike Brown because I think Mike Brown's a hell of a coach. He's more of a defensive guy. And I think the defense will come as the years, as he, establishes his term in Sactown. But right now it's offense, man. Offense is going to, win him a couple games in this series. Like I said, I can see it going 7 games just because I think that, they're so potent on offense. And there's 2 guys that the Kings have that I think that, the average basketball fan might know, but somebody from afar might not know that doesn't really watch NBA just like for just TV games. Kings, they probably only played a couple games on TV nationally, but De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, man. De'Aaron Fox has been good. First, talk about Fox. Fox has the most, clutch points in the fourth quarter any player in the NBA. He scores 23% of his team's points. I seen that stat last night, and I fell off the chair. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of responsibility to be a guy, to be a closer. You know what I mean? That's sort of like a Dwayne Wade type. To be able to close a game out in the fourth quarter. And I think that, to be willing to take clutch shots in the fourth quarter is huge. We know it goes a long way in the playoffs, man. Your team can look to you and know that, give me the rock and I'm going to close this thing out. I think that De'Aaron Fox is just a fantastic basketball player. He's been good for some years. I think finally the Kings have got some players around him. Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter is a guy I've always liked, 3-point shooter. He played in Atlanta for some years. Now they got him. He's been there for a couple years. Domantas Sabonis, what a perfect compliment to De'Aaron Fox's game. Sabonis is averaging a double-double, and 19, 12, and 7 assists. Domantas Sabonis can play, period. You know what I mean? I was surprised that the Pacers really got rid of him so fast. I know, it maybe didn't work out or they didn't foresee, maybe they like Tyrese Halliburton a little bit better. You know what I mean? What you can understand, he's a good player as well. But Domantas Sabonis, man, makes this thing go. I think that what's going to ultimately hurt the Kings, I think they have those 2, but they need kind of a third guy. You know what I mean? And I think that they might be, Huerter is streaky. He's got his shots have got to be falling for him to be effective. You know what I mean? Defensively, I think the whole team's a liability right now, so I think that the Warriors will be able to get what they want. But I think De'Aaron Fox in the fourth quarter can be able to get to his spots. I mean, the Kings are going to have to keep this thing close, man. I think every game they're going to have to, just try to keep pace with the Warriors. And I think for the first time in a long time, I think now the Warriors are playing a team that actually can score like they can. You know what I mean? So I think for that reason, I think this series might be a little longer than it should. You know what I mean? Because the Warriors on paper got the better team. They should win this series. I think they will. I think it's going to be 7 games. But only because I think, like I said, the Kings can score. Defense going to be hard to come by in this series. I could see a lot of 125, 120 games, you know what I'm saying, 115, 110, something like that. You know, we got the two highest scoring teams, you know, in the NBA. You know, head to head, the Warriors have won 7 out of the last 9 meetings between these two. Uh, you know, dating back to last year. Something's got to give. I think the Kings have the advantage because the home crowd's going to be, you know, real pumped up. You know, they haven't made the playoffs since I said like 2006. But it's no way in one scenario I think the Warriors lose this series, man. You know what I mean? It's going to be great for the fan, great for the NBA, great to watch every game, I think. So it's going to be entertaining, and the people going to be introduced to De'Aaron Fox real quick. You know what I'm saying? After this series, I think he's going to get a lot more national coverage, a lot more national um, conversation about him because I think that he is a franchise player, and it's no doubt that Mike Brown's got the Kings in the right direction, man. So look out as we talk about the NBA playoffs. First series, Kings, Warriors, gonna be good, man. This V for the win. Warriors in 7. Peace.